The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
And you're going to love it.
Okay, let's go.
All right, so the goal of this podcast is to get people deep, shallow dive information. And you've already done that for me because after our first conversation, I have now gone back and built out a page for every interview that I've done. And you're going to be number 39 or maybe number 40. And then I'm also building out a page for every single episode, which is a lot of work, but I appreciate it. And now my site is searchable as well. So, all right, everybody, we've got the search engine optimization king, my man, Brandon Leibowitz. Did I pronounce Leibowitz correctly?
Yep, you got it.
All right. So listen, tell us about search engine optimization. Give us, maybe start out with giving us kind of like the 30,000 foot perspective of where it falls into everything. And then we'll dive into some questions that I had.
Sounds good. SEO is search engine optimization. That means ranking websites on the different search engines, whether it's Google, Bing, Yahoo, Amazon, Yelp, YouTube, DuckDuckGo, ChatGPT, Perplexity, wherever people are searching, there's ways to optimize and try to get you to show up organically without having to spend money on ads.
Okay.
So when you search on Google, there's ads at the top. Those are all paid ads, but right below the ads are the organic, the free listings, which is really what SEO is trying to get you, that free traffic.
Got it. And really, is Google still the behemoth in this? I mean, do they have over 50% market share or not really?
They pretty much run the show, but we'll have to see. Everything is constantly evolving and changing, and we'll see if anybody could take them over. But it's kind of tough to beat Google. They just dominate.
Yeah. Okay, let's do this. Let's start at square one. So somebody is launching a small business. How do they think about SEO in terms of the beginning so they don't make the mistake that I did, which really was not to necessarily think about SEO? And that's why I'm having to go back and kind of rebuild sort of a blog page for every episode. How does SEO fit into your decision making really from the get-go? And I guess the first part of that is, what are your thoughts on Squarespace, Wix, Shopify for an e-commerce business, or WordPress? What are your thoughts on those, I guess, white label platforms?
Well, those are all the more popular ones, and it's just what you do with them. Being on WordPress is the best, but just being on WordPress doesn't mean you're going to have a good website. The site structure, the hierarchy, how you lay it all out is very important. And just like you're doing right now, you're adding more pages. The more pages anybody has on their website, the better off they're going to be. So try and break down all their services that they offer, different categories, subcategories, subcategories, product pages for your e-commerce, but just trying to expand and not just have a simple one-page website, because each page can only target about 3 to 5 words. After that, you lose relevancy. The more pages you have means more keywords you could target. And that is what we want to do, is try to break it out as much as you can. That makes sense. I mean, not to get too granular, but just try to think from a user's point of view. Is this going to be helpful? And if so, create that page.
So total page count does matter when it comes to building a website, like a website that has 400 pages versus a website that has 40 pages.
Not necessarily. It doesn't matter to be more pages, but more pages opens you up to more keywords. But that 40 pages could be the government website about some official topic, and they just put 40 pages up. But because there's a government, they just get a ton of trust signals from Google that they're just going to rank all the time, because Google just trusts .gov or .edu websites because you can't buy them. But in general, as a business owner, the more pages, the better, because 40 pages listing out all your services. If you're a dentist, you could list out, I do teeth whitening, I do root canals, I do all these different things. But after a while, you're like, I don't really have anything else to talk about. That's where the blog comes into play.
Okay.
The blogs let you add more content, and then you just add more content indefinitely and create new topics about 7 ways to whiten your teeth. You won't really put that on the service page, but someone who's searching for that, that's a blog post that you write. that leads people into your website that are looking to whiten their teeth. And maybe they realize doing it yourself is good, but going to a professional might just be a little bit better because they'll be longer lasting or help with different shades of white that you're trying to get, trying to lead people in. But in general, more content is always the best, but authority does come into play with trust and signals that Google looks at to figure out, should we rank you? Because just because you have 400 pages, Google doesn't necessarily trust anything you put out there. So that's why, especially with ChatGPT, it's too easy now to put out content that Google just says, great, you have all these pages, but how do we know that this stuff is valid? So that trust comes into play from backlinks, getting other websites to talk about you.
Okay. You know what? Why don't you explain backlinks? Because that's a term that is synonymous with search engine optimization. So can you help people understand that?
Backlinks are clickable links from another website that points to yours. Let's say you're reading an article on Forbes.com. In there, it says Brandon Leibowitz. You click on that and it goes to my website. I'd be getting a backlink from Forbes.com. The more websites that have clickable links that point to you, the more popular Google thinks you are, the more trust they're going to give to you. And then they look at those keywords and the content on your website. It doesn't work the other way around. Just because you have a bunch of content doesn't necessarily mean Google's going to trust and rank that content.
Okay, gotcha. So the more you can be on other people's websites as a clickable link that then brings people to your website, that adds validity. Okay, that makes sense. The concept of, I guess page count does make sense. So like what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it's not necessarily the more pages, the better, but the more quality pages you have that are talking about various things. And then what about including backlinks in your blog postings? Like is that a two-way benefit, or is it only benefiting the site that you're backlinking to?
It mainly benefits the site you're linking to. Google does look at who you link out to.
Okay.
So you should link out to like a Wikipedia or something neutral, but you don't want to link out to your competition because then you're just helping them out.
Okay.
In general, you want people to link to you more.
Okay, got it. And I've definitely noticed over the years, man, you started out searching on Google and I thought it was incredibly clean, but now, those sponsored ads come up right away. And I think that's one of the areas maybe a Perplexity is going to be able to kind of make some noise. I've talked about Perplexity and ChatGPT and AI a lot, and I do want your opinion on that here in a second. But, I feel like the clean search experience has been a little bit muddled with all of these sponsored ads. Now, I don't spend much time on Bing. What are your thoughts on Bing? And are people really still using Yahoo as a search platform?
Not really. Google brings probably like 20 to 80% of your traffic.
Okay.
Bing will bring about 1%.
Okay.
Yahoo will bring about 1%. DuckDuckGo might bring 0.5%. And this is me looking at thousands of websites over the years since 2007, looking at Google Analytics and other tracking tools that I've never seen another search engine bring in more traffic than Google. Every website is different. You should look at your analytics to see, but in general, Bing and Yahoo have such a tiny market share.
Wow. So it's really that tiny, huh? I didn't realize it was that small.
Yeah, Google just runs the show and they just bring in so much traffic. Unless people accidentally use Bing, which I see all the time. People are searching and they think they're on Google, but Bing took over their browser or Yahoo or Brave or something like that.
Yeah. No, I notice that a lot. Let me ask you about DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo kind of touts itself as sort of the browser that doesn't necessarily track you and then doesn't necessarily, what's the word I'm looking for? What do they tout themselves as? They don't track you, and then they also don't filter out the content. Do you think that's really the case, or is that just their sort of marketing approach to try to make you think Google is evil?
They might have done that at the beginning. I don't know if they still do it, but they probably did at the beginning to get that market share. And then if they sold, then who knows what those companies are going to do with all that data they have.
Yeah.
They are more privacy oriented, is what they say. But who knows
Okay.
behind the scenes what's really going on.
Okay. Okay. You had talked about WordPress being sort of the preferred platform. Is that just because it's more of a developer platform? Like I've personally built sites on Squarespace. I've built sites on Wix. I've built sites on Shopify. And really it's because you don't need to know how to write code necessarily for those platforms. And that's probably why they've really kind of gained market share for non coders like myself. But WordPress, I think you do have to be a little bit technical. Does that technical nature then give it even better tools for search engine optimization?
Well, the main benefit of WordPress is, well, it's free and it's open source, so anybody could edit it. Whereas Squarespace, Shopify, Wix, they lock you into their platform and you can't make customizations. You can customize it a lot, but you can't do everything. Whereas WordPress, you can do whatever you want.
Okay, got it, got it. Okay, talk us through kind of some of the main, I guess, components of search engine optimization, like metadata, title tags, H1 tags, H2 tags. Can you just, and you don't have to get super into the weeds on that stuff, but can you just sort of explain maybe the main 4 or 5 things that the Google algorithm looks for when it scans a page in terms of SEO?
Mostly the content is one thing that doesn't require any coding, and just adding more text to every single page is one of the most important things by far. Creating more pages, having more text on each page, that helps Google read those pages, understand what those pages are about, and then rank you hopefully for those keywords accordingly. But content is not just enough. You have to add title tags. There's meta descriptions. You could add schema. You could put header tag, or you should put header, one H1 tag per page. You can have as many H2s and H3s, but schema is really helpful. Google, Bing, Yahoo created that programming language like 15 years ago, and that really enhances your listing. If you ever see reviews in the Google search results, like stars, or if you search for recipe, it tells the whole recipe right there. Or if you search for like a sporting team event and you see the score right there, that's all schema being pulled in from those websites. Also, AI is pulling in schema, primarily voice search, Alexa, Siri, all those are primarily pulling in schema. So if you add schema, that really helps a lot as well. But there's lots of places to put those keywords. Content is code free and one of the most important places to put a few hundred words of text per page. The more you could put, the better.
Okay. Okay. Is it easy to explain schema?
Yeah, schema.org is a programming language that the search engines made to help enhance your listing. So if you ever see websites listed on Google, that's just the standard website. But if you ever see anything else in Google, like stars or recipes or celebrities' birthdays or pictures, that's all pulled in from schema. So you add schema to each page on your website, and that shows Google that here's a birthday of a person, or here's my name, here's my headshot, or here's my social media. So it all ties it together.
Okay, got it, got it. So it's a programming language. So is it something that you have to, I guess, get some type of code for and then inject into the header of the page or the footer of the page or somewhere in the body of the page? It's not like the end consumer who's looking at the web page, they're not going to see it, right? It's all on the back end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much all of SEO is mainly in the back end, except for the content that you put out there. That's people are going to read that content. But other than that, all the other changes, title tags, meta descriptions, all that is kind of behind the scenes for Google to see, not really for people to see. Same with schema. It's really just for search engines to better read that content or help them more easily read it. It's like a programming language that they said is universal that just helps them identify important elements on the page.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Let's talk about social media for a second and really how social media relates to search engine optimization. Personally, for example, for the deep shallow dive page, I mean, it's funny. I test this all the time where I will Google deep shallow dive podcast and I'll see what comes up. And a lot of times what comes up is highly, I guess, popular reels that I've put out on Instagram or on Facebook. I don't put too much deep shallow dive stuff on LinkedIn, but like when I Google my own name, my LinkedIn listing comes up pretty much right away. So I'm assuming that those platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, they probably have the best SEO out there, right? Partly because of the amount of, I guess, users and people that are backlinking. But is that like a good strategy for a small business or a business to make sure they've got social media going? So you're almost letting those guys do some SEO for you. Does that make sense?
So Google, a normal business would have like a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, some of those, because there's a lot of sketchy websites, and most of those sketchy, weird websites, they're not going to spend the time making social media accounts, or if there's no contact us page or about us page or privacy policy or terms of service. These are like kind of standard things that Google thinks a normal business would have. So to try to make Google think, or to let Google know that you are a real legitimate business, you should have all those things. Being active on social media, like how many times you're posting every day, not as important as just having a profile, having a presence, having a page there is going to help send more trust signals to Google. Any way to build trust is really the main thing with SEO, is like how to get Google to trust you enough to want to rank you.
Okay. What about all these foreign, I don't mean to say this in a derogatory way, these foreign guys that hit me up and they say, "Oh, I can get you number 1 on Google." Like, what are these guys even talking about when they call you up or they email you and they say, "I can rank you number 1 on Google." What are they even trying to say?
Oh, they're just trying to take your money. I get those phone calls, emails every single day. And I'm just like, all right, you're calling up an SEO company trying to pitch me SEO, or you're emailing me. And my
Yeah,
company
that's
name is
funny.
SEO Optimizers. So it
Yeah.
should be kind of obvious in the name that I do SEO. But yeah, I get those pitches, like 10 of them a day, and 3 or 4 of these spam phone calls every day. It's a little annoying, but yeah, anyone that's trying to reach out to you pitching you their services probably isn't the best at what they do, because they should be able to rank their website and have you find them.
Got it. Yeah, totally. So really, it's not like there's any magic recipe that like somebody knows. It's well, maybe to an extent, but there's a consistent set of things that you need to do, and it sounds like have well-structured pages, have maybe the appropriate, like you were saying, every page should have only one H1 header, have the schema, have content, 2 to 300 more words if possible. But fundamentally, I guess there's no magic to it, right? It's more of, how do I want to put it? It's more of just making sure you're structured properly, or is it a little combination of both?
There's black hat SEO out there, which is doing stuff like you're saying, like that will game the system and trick Google and will rank you. But eventually Google's going to catch you, or your competitors are going to see what you're doing and tell Google that you're doing some sketchy, shady stuff. And instead of ranking you higher, they're going to drop you down or kick you
Yeah.
off Google permanently. But there are ways to game the system. It's just not something you should ever do to your business. Maybe if you want to like buy a .info domain for $2, test some stuff out, but most of that stuff is going to be really short lived. And Google changes their algorithm pretty much on a daily basis. So if you did know something, tomorrow is probably going to be changing, and the next day it's going to be changing. So just sticking with the fundamentals of what they're really looking for: good quality content, trust signals. Those are the things trying to just make sure that you're helping the reader out, benefiting the user that's going to your website.
Okay. Yeah, when I always think about it, I'm like, Google has more engineers than probably any other company on the planet. I really never think anyone can game the Google system, game the engineers. And even if they do, it definitely has to be something that's pretty short-lived. Okay, let's jump into I guess, the role of AI and what your thoughts are on, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Claude, and how are those guys affecting search engine optimization?
People are starting to use AI to search or to get answers to questions, and we will see how much that impacts Google. That one's definitely going to take some market share, but Google has Gemini. We'll see if they can make that popular. But
Hmm.
for now, I think ChatGPT is probably the more popular one. Gemini was a little late to the game, and yeah, we'll just have to see. But Google's going to keep promoting and pushing Gemini as much as they can because they don't want to
Yeah.
lose that market share.
What do you use?
I use Google or ChatGPT
Got it.
for
Got
now,
it.
but we'll see.
I will say the Gemini integration into Google Workspace is pretty nice. Like, I've got a Google Workspace email account, and the ability to have Gemini reply to my emails or write my emails or add things to my calendar, and just that integration into the workplace suite. I mean, that for sure is their competitive advantage. I think Microsoft has that ability with Copilot as well. I just don't think it's scaled enough. I need to play around with it. Okay, let's see. I will say, with ChatGPT, do you think people are using it to maybe create better pages? Does the Google Oh, here's a good question. Do you think the Google search algorithm can recognize a ChatGPT written page?
They said we don't care
Oh,
anymore
okay.
who writes the content because AI has gotten so good.
Okay.
It's just
Okay.
not accurate. So if you
Okay.
just copy and paste from AI to your website, not the best. But if you take it, edit it, double, triple, quadruple check it, take all those AI hallucinations out where it makes stuff up and it doesn't tell you, that's good. I like to use it to help with outlines. But in
Okay.
terms of writing content, it's okay, but it's not perfect. Like, a lot of people in the past just have it write thousands of pages of content and it would rank for a little while, but then Google realized this is low quality content. It has inaccuracies and mistakes and those AI hallucinations and not a good user experience. So if you have
Gotcha.
good quality content, great. But if it's low quality, or if you're just using it to create 400 pages, not the best. But if you're using it to create 400 really good, high quality, well researched, edited pages, that's what Google wants.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. Do they put weight into, I guess, how many clicks a page has? Because obviously, for small businesses, I think part of the challenge is just driving traffic in order to get clicks. Is that part of their algorithm to give a website or a web page credibility?
Yeah. I mean, they look at how many people clicked and stayed. So if a lot of people click and then leave, that tells Google maybe we shouldn't keep you number one. Let's drop you in because people aren't finding what they're looking for. Let's drop you and move number two up to number one. And let's see how people behave with this. And if they stay on that website, then that tells Google that people are finding what they're looking for. Google just wants to offer a good user experience. That way you keep using Google. Because if you don't find what you're looking for right away, you're going to start using a different search engine, and Google does not want that to happen.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay. Does For companies like yours that are, in the industry as a search engine optimization company, do you guys have contacts at Google? Like, do you guys have people there that, I also get hit up by these companies that claim they're partners with Google, and they claim that they're this and they're that. And I have a hard time, I have a hard time believing that they have like a guy at Google or something. What do you, what's the reality of that?
For paid ads, yes, but for
Uh,
SEO, they're never going to help you. But I'm
okay.
a Google partner on Google Ads,
Got
so
it.
you get certified. But for the SEO, no, there's no one that's going to really help you for that. But if you're spending money on Google Ads, they're happy to
Got
take
it.
your money and try to upsell you on more stuff. So if you do run Google Ads, you might get a phone call from a Google rep giving you advice. Just take everything with a grain of salt.
I gotcha.
Gonna make you spend more money and usually be less efficient. So just, yeah, they're gonna tell you automate a lot of things, which you don't want to do those automatic adjustments on your ads. You want to have that manual control.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay. That makes sense that the ads side of the business comes with some support because they're trying to get your current money and then more money. But the organic free stuff, yeah, that's probably a little bit you're on your own. Okay. Let's talk about something that maybe a lot of people don't even understand, and that's the Google Search Console. And I know that thing has had like a variety of names, but fundamentally, can you help us understand if you build a website, one of the immediate things I feel like you should do is then register your website inside the Google Search Console, and then talk about sitemaps a little bit and maybe help us understand what that whole thing is.
There's lots of tools from Google. Google Analytics is a free tool to track your traffic and see where all your traffic comes from. Google Search Console is a free tool to look specifically at your SEO traffic and your website performance and what keywords you rank for. If there's any errors, if you've been penalized, they might tell you there. If your website doesn't look good on mobile, they'll tell you there. If it loads slowly, if there's any error pages, it's more like a technical audit for your website. And both are good to have, Google Analytics and Google Search Console. And Google Search Console is just more geared towards SEO. You could create a sitemap on your website, which almost every website has a sitemap by default. You just go to yourwebsite.com/sitemap.xml. Should pull up a sitemap and you could submit that to Google. And that just lets them know, here's all the pages on my website. Please show them, because Google's just a robot and they try to find all the pages on the internet, but they're not able to. And a sitemap just helps them find all the pages a little bit easier on your website. It has webmaster tools as well. And so you could do the same thing and submit to Bing. They bring significantly less traffic, but still, it still brings more traffic. If you're getting 10,000 visitors a month, 1% is a lot. If you're only getting 100 people to your website and 1% of that traffic would be coming from Bing, then one extra visitor is not that much, because Bing kind of brings like 1% of that traffic. So
Okay. Okay.
you're getting a lot
Gotcha.
of traffic. Like if you're a big brand, I would definitely make sure it's well optimized, because when I work at big corporations, I'll see they're getting they'll get thousands of visitors from Bing. They'll get hundreds of thousands from Google, but they're still getting thousands of visitors every month from Bing. And just making sure it's all optimized and looks good and reads properly and is showing as many pages as possible is always a good best practice.
Okay, that's a good point. I mean, I guess size does matter. And even though Bing's market share is so much smaller, still, I guess it's all relative. So if you're getting hundreds of thousands of visitors, 1% of that is still something that you're going to want to capture. Okay, that makes sense. So when you submit a sitemap to Google or Bing, and then let's say you build 5 more pages through your blog post, do you have to keep resubmitting that thing every time, or does Google, I guess, have some type of mechanism where it's automatically updated that your site's been updated?
Usually the sitemap will update automatically for you. So you don't have, once it's submitted to Google, you just set it and forget it. You don't really have to update that ever again, which is
Okay.
one nice thing about SEO is sitemap. Once it's done, it's done. A lot of other stuff you have to continuously update, but the sitemap is a quick, easy win.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay. All right. I know SEO is still incredibly important. I mean, I think, maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, gosh, maybe not even that long ago, it well, I shouldn't say this. I was gonna say I feel like it was more important back then. Now I feel like there's been automation in terms of the website building process and maybe even Google's methodology to search. But fundamentally, it probably still is one of the top things as a small business you should take into consideration. And that's probably why we should hire guys like you, right?
If you want that free traffic,
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
main benefit of Google or SEO is just capturing that free traffic, whether it's on whatever platform. Amazon could help you rank higher on there.
Hmm.
Yelp could help you rank higher on there. So it doesn't necessarily need to be Google, even though Google just kind of runs the show. But
Okay.
anywhere that you could search, there's ways to optimize for that.
Okay, you know what? That's an interesting point. So when you talk about optimizing for Amazon or optimizing for Yelp, are you talking about doing things differently or separately on your website, or just optimizing it so it appeals to all of those platforms?
No, it'd be optimizing your Amazon listing. So if you're selling on
Got it. Got it.
Amazon, it'd be going into Amazon and changing your product titles and the
Got
bullet
it.
points.
Okay.
Or if it's
Okay.
on
Okay.
YouTube, it'd be going into YouTube and making sure your file name of your video has keywords before you upload it to YouTube, making sure you have a good title, good description, good tags, and all that.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. You're talking about optimizing within each platform. So, like, for example, your products on Amazon, you make sure you're following Amazon's best practices when it comes to the title, the description, maybe images, things like that. Let's talk about images. How important are images, and what do people not do with them? Maybe not add a alternative description. Does that help with an image? What are the helpful things when it comes to images?
The file name is very, very important, making sure it's not just image001 JPEG, but try and name it something that describes what that image is about in a few words. Like if it's a picture of people smiling and it's on my website, I wouldn't say SEO people smiling. I'd just say happy people or happy people smiling. Eventually there'll
Okay.
be a picture of like Google Analytics, and I could say like Google Analytics SEO traffic increase or something like that. So it's like some images, as long as it describes that image, you could put those keywords in there. Just don't try to throw those extra keywords into it just to throw them in there, because it's not really the best practice. And for your e-commerce website, you have 10 pictures of the same t-shirt that you're selling. You could reorder the file names. Like one could be t-shirt, another one could be t-shirts, plural. Another one could be
Got it. Okay.
like TEE shirts. Another one could be like the letter T. And then, or you could put shirts for men or men's t-shirts or red t-shirts. So just trying to vary it up on all the different file names and adding that alt text as well. And the text around it on that page also helps with relevancy.
Okay. Okay. So like a real description of the image as the file name versus like t-shirt 001, t-shirt 002, t-shirt 003. That's not as helpful, what you're saying.
Yeah, putting those keyword descriptive words in there.
Descriptive keywords. Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. All right. What else, man? Anything else? Any little nuggets that you want to leave us with, or any parting words?
I would just say be patient with all this, because SEO is more long-term play. It's not immediate. Just got to keep sticking with it and sending all the right trust signals to Google. And over time, you're going to see that traffic moving up and up and up. But just got to keep with it. A lot of people get discouraged if they're not seeing immediate traction. Paid ads will get that immediate traction. SEO, got to stick with it. It takes about 6 months on average to really get Google to trust a website.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. All right, Brandon, I will put all your links in our show description. I'll backlink you. I'll build out your own blog page. So hopefully I will help SEO you, and hopefully you will help SEO me and all that. So anything else you want to leave us with, anything, or did we kind of do a good SEO 101?
That pretty much covers the fundamentals of content, backlinks. Those are the two really big pieces of that SEO puzzle. But there's hundreds, thousands of other little ranking signals, but really good content and good backlinks are going to help move the needle.
All right, perfect. All right, you heard that, everybody. Good content, good backlinks. All right, a nice break from our geopolitical discussions to talk a little SEO. All right, hang on the line, Brandon. Appreciate everybody. Call a spade, and remember, SEO your website. It's important.
This episode was brought to you by the new book, Deep Shallow Dive Into You, available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in hardcover and paperback. Don't forget to sign up for our new mailing list on our website at deepshallowdive.com.